What is up, everyone? I hope you all are doing well. My name is Ishaan and welcome to the video. Last week I posted a video talking about, you know, the problems that I've been going through, the changes that I made recently. Since then, I've kind of had a hard time coming up with another topic or idea to record another video, but I've actually been through that process, several times in the past too, and usually what happens is with time, I just started to think about what's going on in my life, and something was something I identify that, maybe there is bothering me, something that I worked on, and I kind of just usually geared the content around it. Recently, I've been pretty busy this week, I've had my dance performances, so we've had to be in rehearsal from like 6 to 10 every single day of this week. So I've already put in like 20 hours for it. We have two more performances today and tomorrow. After that, we're all set. So in the last home stretch, almost pulling through this, like I got this. But what that's also brought upon recently is just a lot of added time commitment, of course, a lot of added stress. It's also pretty fun, like I can't deny that, and it's just an amazing feeling to be back on stage after so long. But with everything that's happening, I just feel like mentally, like I haven't had the time to even like take some sort of a break, because if I'm not doing the practices from 6 to 10, the other part of, there's other times where I have to go to class. If I'm not in class, I have to do my work, I have to keep up with all the other things that are also going on, and I just feel like I haven't gotten a break of sorts. Like, even though I'm physically feeling completely fine, I just feel like mentally I'm completely exhausted and overworked, and I just have not had the time to take that break. Like I was saying, I've been pretty busy. I've been feeling I haven't gotten a mental break from things, and just the exhaustion is mostly in here rather than like on my physical body. And when that happens and there's so much going on, sometimes it feels easier to kind of be like, oh, this is the last stretch, you just have to push through for a couple more weeks and then you're done with it. But at the same time, like, I'm graduating in a couple of weeks. It's the last stretch, yes, but I really want to be able to enjoy what I'm doing as well, even though it brings upon a lot of time commitment, a lot of added stress, a lot of my exhaustion. But I want to enjoy it, and based on that, after I identified that, I wanted to gear my video around today to talk about why the process matters more than the final destination. It's something that I've definitely spoken about in my videos before in different ways, so this is more of a raw perspective and giving out exactly what I would say if I were just having a conversation, with someone. The destination seems to be the place where we all want to get to, right? Because that's the final goal. That's where we want to head. That's what the process is for. You were working in that process, we're putting in that work so we can get to that final destination, because we think that the final destination is what's going to give us that validation. It's the place that's going to give us the happiness that or contentment that we're looking for or that we're seeking, whether that be external or internal. For me, it's most of the times internal, because I feel like, oh, like if I do this, if I get to that point, then I'll be happy again because I'll have gone through the process and then I'll be done with it. And that's how I feel with the situation with the performances right now. Like, I just want to be done with it and I'll make it through, and then I'll be like, okay, like now the time commitment is done. But I really had to just sit by myself, remind myself that that's not why I'm in it, right? And that's not why you should be in any type of process if the only thing that you're looking forward to is the final destination. The process is genuinely the most important part, of course. And again, I've talked about this so many times. I also mentioned it on my Instagram so many times that it almost feels repetitive to say this, so I'm going to try my best to say it in as many different ways as I can. But process is the most important part, because that's where all the learnings are. That's where you encounter all the failures, all the rejections, all the hurdles that come with it, and then you overcome them, and then you make it to that final destination with time. if you were to skip that entire process and just make it to the final destination, you won't be able to pick on any of the learnings that you would while you face all of those hurdles. And then you get to the final destination, yeah, like you'll have the thing or the validation or the contentment that you might have been looking for, but it's gonna be very short-lived. Let alone if you're gonna have to go through another process again, you're gonna want to find the same shortcut, and you're not gonna have the skills that you needed to go through that process again and again and again, because that's really what life is. That's really what life is. It's just one thing to tackle after another. That's why the process or the journey that teaches you all these things, all these skills that you need to go to continually go through different processes and make it through to the end of it. If you don't learn that, then you're always going to be stuck at level 1. Like, that's just how it is. You can't just go from level 1 to level 100 without having to go past through all from level 2 through 99. It's the same thing as a video game, you know, like when you first start off, you're really bad at it because you've never played it, and then over time you start getting better at it. But if you were to just start that game, and then let's say you just jumped right to the advanced level, you think you'll be doing any good? Like, well, personal experience speaking, you know, when I used to play a lot of FIFA back in the day on my PSP. Oh, for all the new gen folks, PSP's PlayStation Portable. It was like this little PlayStation that, you know, you could play a lot of games on. You could travel with it everywhere. It was actually the most fire piece of tech that I've ever seen. And it was way ahead of its time. That's why it doesn't pop off now. Because, man, if they launched the PSP now, shit would kind of go insane. And then they had the PS Vita. But the PS Vita didn't end up doing as good. Again, I think it was probably because it was just way ahead of its time that nobody caught on. Now, I hope they relaunched that shit, but apart from that, what I was saying, so I used to play a lot of FIFA back in the day, and there's 4 or 5 different modes in FIFA that you can play when you're playing against a CPU. There's the beginner, intermediate, advanced, world class, and legendary. So there's 5 levels, right? Of course, you have to start off as in the beginner level, because if you just jump to the world class or the legendary, like, you're gonna get scraped out there. You're gonna be losing like 10-0 type situation. So not cute at all, and you just didn't learn how to play the game either. So I started off with beginner, and slowly I incremented it by getting better, learning new things, and then going on to the next level. That's exactly how I see any journey, any process. You encounter the hurdle. Well, first you sometimes start off with a good background, which can propel you a little farther along, or you start off with no background, which means that you just have to start from scratch and build it very slowly. So let's say you're starting off from scratch, you know, you learn a new skill, you start to get better at it. Now it's time to take it up a notch. Now, what a lot of people, and including me, this is what I've done this too, when you learn that new skill and you kind of get better at it in some sort of way, people become content already. They're like, oh, like I already did this and I already have, like, you know, I'm good to go since I've already gotten a little bit better at it. But they don't want to take it to that next level. And if you don't take it to the next level, how are you going to get any better? How are you going to get to learn more things? So this is something that I would say connects to the gym as well. You know, progressive overload. You want to keep increasing the weight over the course of time, slowly, not fast. Nobody's saying you got to just be increasing every single week. No, slow increments. You increase the weight over the period of time. Same situation applies to when you're learning new skills, going through a process, going through a journey. Take time, absorb what you learn, and then slowly increment that with more things, with more challenging things. So you can keep getting better and keep pushing forward. This process is so crucial because if you don't go through the process and you get to that final destination, you'll have that contentment that's short-lived. But at the same time, what are you really proud of? The way I see it, when you go through the process, you, like I said, you encounter the hurdles, you fuck up, you fall back, you fall down. But when you get back up and you try to encounter that, head into that hurdle, face it, and overcome it, that's just such a different type of gratification that you'll have internally. It's just a completely different feeling, and honestly, it's just it's so unmatched. Like, it's so underrated in my opinion. The fact that you taking small steps, learning new things, and progressively making it more challenging so you can keep getting better at it. I don't think nearly enough people do it in their daily lives. Like, I personally don't think so. Now, this, you might disagree with this. Other people might disagree with this. Some people may even say like it's completely fine if people don't want to improve, and I get that. That's a topic for another video actually. So make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Drop like one video a week now. There's no way to just skip the process and get to the end unless you're like super privileged with things. Of course, like that really factors into these kinds of things, but some journeys you really have to go through them in order to get to that end point. And I keep saying end point even though there's not really an end point ever. You just have to keep going, keep improving, keep working on different things. So yeah, the process is, it's pretty important. Now, of course, again, like I said, burnout is also very real. So I'd like to recognize that for a quick minute and talk about, the ways that I've been able to tackle or manage some situations. Taking mini breaks is pretty necessary, pretty useful, helpful, beneficial for your mind, for your body. The way I've been taking my breaks mostly is by sleeping enough though. Like, I haven't, the past week I've been getting at least 7 hours of sleep a night, which is pretty fucking good for me. For someone like me, I usually, a couple weeks ago, before I started, my gym routine again in the morning, I was sleeping like maybe 5-6 hours a day. Not like, that's not good at all. It just affects your entire fucking day and your cognitive abilities and your physical functioning. So one of the ways that I've been taking some sort of a break or rest per se is by actually getting enough sleep, giving my body the rest that it rightfully deserves. Now, apart from that, during the day, I really can't lie, I really can't afford to take too many breaks, just because there's a lot of assignments that I have to finish. My senior thesis is still a big stressor. We still haven't been able to figure out the leak situation and how to fix it. But I've been talking to a couple of scientists recently, especially this past week. I talked to like 2 folks, and they said that it's when you do stuff like the stuff that I'm doing with vacuums and seals, like it actually is pretty hard to get a tight seal, and even with like the most sophisticated of equipment, you do have certain problems. So that makes me feel so much better that I'm only working with like university lab equipment and it's not working currently. So it makes me feel a little better that even more advanced folks, more advanced equipment, and folks who've been working for much longer than I do or I have experienced similar things as well. So that makes me feel very comforted, makes me feel like I'm not alone. But I can't take a break from that. I have to start writing it because the first draft for the senior thesis is also due later this month in April, in like 2 weeks or so. Next week I have a presentation it's that I want to give, talking about some of my research work, but also it's more of like a science communication thing where I'm sharing stuff about astrobiology, Titan, and why ocean worlds are an interesting place in the solar system to folks who might not necessarily have a scientific background. So that's gonna be real fun because I love science communication, and I have a couple videos on this channel too, so be sure to check those out if you haven't already. So I have to be working on that. My senior sem class, we've had our first review paper draft due this past week. Got that done somehow. Shit was crazy, but I think I I think I did a pretty good job. So I'm pretty proud of the paper that I wrote, or the first draft that I wrote. So we're gonna have to kind of edit it, and there's a couple of assignments for that class that are due this week, so I'll have to finish those. And then from my public speaking class, I have to design a speech to persuade. So there's just a lot of assignments that I do have to finish, and again, all of these things may not be hard, but they're a time commitment, and that's where you just have to prioritize and consider what's the most urgent thing or what's the most immediate thing that needs to be done with time. Also, I've been applying to jobs, and there's 2 things that I applied to recently for which I have to do skills assessments. So that's another couple of hours of time commitment that I have to make. One thing I would like to say though, because I'm very proud of it, is the fact that even though we've had all practices this week, like from 6 to 10 p.m. each day, I've been able to get 5 workouts in, and I'm just pretty proud of that, man. Because if I could get through this week and still get my workouts in, that means I can pretty much get through any week and be able to get my workout in, and that makes me very happy. That makes me very happy, and I'm so proud that I stuck through it and have been waking up at a decent time. Overall, all I'm trying to say is go through that process, go through those hurdles, go fall, make those mistakes, and most importantly, get back up, learn from those mistakes, and keep fucking going. And that's what I want to leave you with. Like, just really give it your all before you give up. Because nobody can ever beat or put down someone who never gives up. If you keep getting back up and keep going, there's no way you won't get to where you want to get to. It's just not possible that you're not gonna get there if you keep trying. Just gotta keep going. But so I was saying, go through that process, fall, make mistakes, learn from that, keep going, because you're gonna get there. You're gonna get to the point where you wanna get to, and all those hurdles, they're gonna make it so much more worth it. So much more worth it. I can promise you that. Like heavy. Like you'll get there and you will be so content that you actually went through that process, because skipping through it was not gonna be the way. Anyways, that is all I've got for y'all in this video today. Covered why that process is so important than actually reaching the end destination. You know, if you resonated with something, leave a comment below, leave a like. Really, it's gonna help the channel out. If you're new to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button and turning on notifications, because I drop 1 new video every single week, and I'll try to cover some more hot topic issues, or not hot topic, but like hot takes, because I feel like I have a lot of those actually, and I realized that recently, and the way I came to realize it was because of my friend group. Like, I say certain things and I just see people's faces go like, what? And so I'm like, been a little weary of some things, so I can't fully say it outright in front of some people without having some sort of like almost an argument almost. But damn. But yeah, I want to drop more with those videos where I'm just able to put my opinions forward, put what I think forward, and then you can take it as you like it, as a grain of salt, whether you agree with it, disagree with it. Let me know in the comments below. But that is all I've got. I'm gonna catch all of y'all in the next video.